AgWeek Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Is the region finally free of frigid temps? Here's John with our AgriWeather outlook.
The weather pattern is finally beginning to take the shape of a full-on spring weather pattern, and we're starting to see the temperatures reflected there. The cold weather really is basically gone. A few spots still a little cool, but it is finally the pattern nationwide beginning to look much more like May, and even southern Canada starting to get those spring warm-up temperatures that happen. There are some areas that have been not getting much rain that I think may get some. There are some areas that have been getting snow that can now look for some scattered rain showers, but the main storm track looks like it's going to stay down in the southern plains and the mid-south. The southern part of the country is where the real active weather looks to be. Now, I've drawn three different elements of jet stream on here. The primary one is the middle. The other two are just to kind of give you the shape of the overall flow, because you don't realize that it's not just really that single thin line that the jet stream is. There's a general flow pattern, and all of that impacts. As often happens, way up in the boreal forest area of northern Alberta, starting to get some early spring, really warm temperatures up there. This is a seasonal effect. It's often temperatures will jump into the 70s and 80s way up in the higher latitudes of central and northwestern part of the continent. Hot temperatures beginning to dominate Texas, and finally the snow belt is mostly snow-free now, and so we're finally getting some warmer temperatures up into the northern part of the Great Plains. The general pattern will feature some cooling this week in the east, and all of this troughiness, all of this cool temperature and this jet stream swinging around is really all that's left of that major cold air regime, which has kept much of the Great Lakes and the northern plains so cold this spring. Well, that has vanished, so we're finally seeing warmer temperatures, a lot of 70s. And 60s, working up into North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, just a much more comfortable weather pattern. Looks like one more little dip down into the mid-south late this week, and that's going to be fairly temporary. The warm temperatures in central Canada will continue. The hot weather in Texas, going to start to see the Mojave Desert really getting warm. And the one vestige of cool will start coming down out of Alaska into the Pacific Northwest, which will bring some cool temperatures there. Next week, the second week, the middle of May now, looking consistently pretty warm throughout the northern plains, and even a narrow finger of hot temperatures getting up into South Dakota. By hot, I mean 80s and 90s. So we do have some warm weather to talk about. Scattered showers looks like they will be fairly persistent this week in the Great Plains northern part. Stormy weather will be down in South Texas, Oklahoma, into the mid-south, and it will be fairly showery along the eastern seaboard. This mountain snow is really just that. Only the higher elevations getting that. The second week, still a bit of that. The northern plains dries out. The mid-south and the southeast is where the stormy weather will be in the middle of May.